All right, Thursday, we're almost there. Welcome to Frontline. It's 5 o'clock here on the East Coast. Here are the top 5 stories we don't want you to miss. Trump says he will be patrolling D.C. streets tonight with the police and military. I can't wait to see this. This is going to be awesome. Trump wants to see for himself how all the crime is getting cleaned up. Now, since the federal takeover last week, crime has plummeted. They recorded a week with 0 murders. And Trump signed an executive order that would direct the DOJ to bring charges to those who burn the American flag. This is going to be an uphill battle on the First Amendment. I understand the whole freedom of speech thing, but I think there should be a line. Like, you should assign a social security number to the flag. It's draped over the caskets of my brothers and sisters when they come home. That should probably be some jail time. Try to burn the Chinese flag in China, by the way. Meantime, the Trump administration says it's reviewing all 55 million people with U.S. visas for deportable violations. Wow. Plus, former Biden spokesman Ian Sams, if you remember this guy, testified today in the mental acuity autopen probe. Despite working for Biden for more than 2 years, Sams, who's like a spokesman for Biden, says he only spoke to him 2 times. That's once a year. This was the 11th interview with former Biden officials. James Comer says this was the most informative. Let's go, James. I like it. And Hurricane Aaron is out in the Atlantic, but its strength and severity is bringing some serious coastal flooding to parts of the East Coast. Some roadways in North Carolina were left flooded and some of them impassable. Tonight's high tide, though, could be a real concern. Plus, this terrorist supporter, Mahmoud Khalil, he will be awarded CARE's Champion of Justice Award. This is the protest ringleader from Columbia University. He should have been deported but he was saved by these partisan judges and stuff like that. Look, CARE, the Council on American Islamic Relations that has 6 board members that are banned from the United States, is under investigation by the feds for alleged ties to Hamas and the Muslim Brotherhood. The UAE has already declared them a terrorist organization, and Marco Rubio is currently trying to designate the Muslim Brotherhood, which they support, as a terrorist organization too. This is like a weird web of jihad support here in America, and here we are. But first, Letitia James smacked down by the courts. Let's do this. Well, Letitia. Looks like you need to update this tweet right here. Oh, because as of today, the correct number, which it should have been from day one, is 0. Donald Trump's entire civil penalty, which, with interest, would have been $515 million, was just thrown out by the New York Appellate Court.
Letitia James is another one that belongs in jail. The Democrats, look, they really overplayed their hand on this because they thought they could take Donald Trump out. They didn't. And in the process, they totally destroyed American people's faith in our Justice Department, and they got him got President Trump a lot of votes because of that.
Yeah. Now, of course, the election is over, so they got their talking point during the election, which actually didn't help them at all, clearly. Trump won. Look, Trump noting this in his Truth Today, quote, "This is a case of election interference by the city and state trying to show illegally that I did things that were wrong, when in fact everything I did was absolutely correct and even perfect. Every single dollar was thrown out, even the penalties imposed on us by the corrupt judge." 5 New York appellate judges, all of one. One of them was appointed by Pataki, which, okay. All right, the rest were appointed by Democrats. All of them unanimously said, wait a minute. This penalty probably violates the 8th Amendment, which says excessive bail shall not be required, nor excessive fines imposed, nor cruel and unusual punishments inflicted. A $500 million fine for a crime with no victim? That seems excessive. That's why this was a 5-0 decision. No dissent whatsoever. Now, they did uphold the ban on Eric and Don doing new business in New York, but very much teed this up for a higher appeal on the very, very thin merits of that aspect, too. This court just removed the financial burden for Trump to appeal. Now, of course, Letitia James is also taking some weird victory lap, saying the court upheld the injunctive relief we won, limiting Donald Trump and the Trump org officers the ability to do business in New York. This is the first elected official in the history of ever that is applauding kicking jobs and a company out of her state. I mean, this is idiotic. She went on. She says, "We will seek appeal to the Court of Appeals to continue to protect the rights and interests of New Yorkers." Oh, you do that, lady. Once you get out of this out of the hands of like a bunch of ideologues, this case is DEAD. It has no victims. The would-be victims said they love doing business with Trump, and the entire case is based on your stupid evaluation of Mar-a-Lago at $18 million. Good luck with that, Tish. Pretty much anyone with an IQ over, like, I don't know, 76 knows that this whole civil fraud case, actually pretty much all the cases, but this one specifically, was just a politically motivated hit job from an attorney general that campaigned on doing this type of bogus lawfare in a state that she knew, one, they tried to price him out of the appeal. That's what this fine was. This fine was all about making sure that he had to post the bond in order to appeal. And in true gangster style, when he was asked about posting the bond after the trial, he said this.
What's your collateral for the bond? Cash.
Yes! Dude, two, also, she knew that Trump would be denied entering things into evidence that he needed to prove his innocence because this judge was nuts. Look at this guy. Looks like a mad scientist. Look, smiling for the cameras. He started the hearing right out the gate, just as a joke. This is a trial of the former and soon-to-be next president of the United States. But also, three, she didn't care if it got overturned because her only intent was to get a headline before the election. She also wanted to take him off the campaign trail. Remember, he had to attend some of these hearings during the height of the campaign. And, most importantly, she just wanted to cost him money. It was never about the law or the people of New York. If it was about the people of New York, she wouldn't have plugged in $10 million in the state budget for her own legal defense after this. The same thing with the criminal case. Some garbage hush money trial with Stormy Daniels is the same thing. Think about this. For the fact that Alvin Bragg, this guy, took one misdemeanor and made it 34 felonies over what amounted to be nothing more than a description of a reimbursement on like a line item by a guy who went to jail for lying. You ever thought something was a business expense, like honestly, in your life, and it wasn't? Oh, yep, you get 34 felonies by that logic. This is insane. Not to mention the fact that the judge, Juan Merchan, his daughter was raking in millions of dollars generating fundraising emails that were the subject of her father's case. Are you kidding me? It's like kangaroo court. Don't even get me started on E. Jean Carroll, where the state of New York that had to literally change the law. They couldn't prove beyond a reasonable doubt in a criminal court, so they took it to a civil court with a new law that changed the statute of limitations in order to bring this BS. And then one of the guys who voted for that law, by the way, Kevin Parker, this Dem right here, got accused of somebody now that it was expanded, and then he called it unconstitutional. You people are just insane. His accuser was more credible than E. Jean Carroll, too. Trump's case had a plaintiff who couldn't remember a single detail of this alleged incident, with factual inaccuracies in her story that were off by sometimes nearly a decade. Then they put her in front of a New York court, and they found her credible? I mean, like, the weed in New York's gotta be great at that point. She has a cat named after her hoo-ha, an illegal gun that the cops had to confiscate after the trial, and went on CNN talking about how rape is sexy. What? That was the left's star witness in like a 40-year-old case with no witnesses, no details, and no specific? Okay. This is why Trump won again. America saw that you guys, the left, were trying to destroy him with lawfare. And we said, like, we are done with this stuff. Everyone associated with every part of one of these trials should be disbarred immediately. Like, one by one, these cases are just going to hell in a hand. You got the Russiagate thing, that fell apart. Turns out people abused their security clearance. You got January 6th, that one fell apart too. Looks like now it's probably staged. Impeachments, now this. They're all falling apart. The power to bring charges against an American citizen is like a major power. It should not be abused. And to deter that, there should be like incalculable, like biblical level, I'm talking Old Testament style penalties. 10 times the crime that they're trying to prosecute. Because if you have the power of the government, you shouldn't be abusing that. All these cases made the process become the punishment, and we should bury these people under the jail for it. Donald Trump Jr., EVP of the Trump Org. Sir, man, you know what? I can't say how happy I am to hear this verdict today.
Yeah, listen, it's pretty good. We're definitely excited. As the guy that got to open and close the case for us, the whole thing was always such a sham. I'm sitting there, I remember, as I'm giving testimony, explaining to Mar-a-Lago that maybe it's worth a little bit more than $18 million when it's 20 acres on the water, on the lake, Mar-a-Lago, in Palm Beach, where, the quarter-acre, tear down house from 1970, a block and a half away, is on the market for $50-60 million. It didn't matter. Even the judge, I got done testifying, he gives me a fist bump. He's like, that was a really good explanation. But it didn't matter, Carl. That was the point. They had actually found us guilty of all of these things before we even got to the trial. There wasn't a jury allowed to be on the trial because this was already rigged. They understood what they were planning on doing. It was all a distraction, no different than what you saw with Alvin Bragg, no different than what you saw with Bonnie Willis down in Georgia. They brought cases in places where they knew the jury pool or the people were 100% Democrat-leaning. Bonnie brought in her boyfriend, who was like a family court guy, trying something for the first time ever. Coincidentally, by total magic, I'm sure, 3 days later, he's visiting, the Biden administration multiple times at the White House. I'm sure they had nothing to do with it.
No, they were unrelated.
He was there for tea and crumpets. But this is the insanity that we've seen, the lawfare. And what really sucks about all of it is, we still have to spend, over the course of the last 8 years, 10 years, hundreds of millions of dollars in legal fees, because, as you said very correctly, the process is the punishment. There's no recourse to them. They're playing with house money. So even if they lose, even if they embarrass themselves, even if they embarrass the Constitution itself, it doesn't matter. They get to get their pound of flesh one way or the other, and it's disgraceful. Yeah,
but, Big Tish has built in $10 million into a legal slush fund out of the people of New York are going to pay up to $10 million should your father use the Justice Department to rightfully go after her for violating, the 8th Amendment in this case.
Well, it should be a lot more than $10 million when you think about what we've actually spent in that. Again, it doesn't matter. $10 million, that's a pittance, as much money as that sounds. When you think of the years and the decades that we've been dealing with this crap from these partisan hacks. Don't forget, Tish James campaigned that she was going to take down Trump. Now, this was before she had any access to documents. She just said, hey, this is good for donors. I'm going to rake in money. I'll raise funds on it. He's guilty before we've even seen any of the evidence. So it doesn't matter. So today is still a very good day. Obviously, it's a huge win. But the fact that they allowed these things to go on, the fact that even the court said, well, the Attorney General has the power to do these things. What, she has the power to extort future businesses years later when there's no victim? Yeah, I'm going to go there. I don't love the deal that you two made because you didn't donate to my campaign. I'm just going to sue you. And even when you win, we're going to cost you time, money, headaches, assets, whatever it may be, for decades. It sets a terrible precedent. It's why everyone's fleeing the state of New York and no one wants to domicile there or do business there.
Well, Don, that's the other thing, too, is she's celebrating. I said it earlier. She's celebrating the fact that you can't do business there. How many jobs? Let's say none of this happened and New York was hunky-dory just like it was back when your dad rebuilt the ice rink on time and under budget. How many more jobs do you think you guys as a company would have brought to the city and state of New York had they been more friendly to you?
Oh, I mean, it's thousands of jobs. If you go across all of our companies, it's a lot more than that. But it's not about us, honestly. Think of all the companies that are pulling jobs. Think of, the guys that are the creators, the CEOs, the entrepreneurs that are saying, you know what, I can deal with this, or I can, move to Florida where I know this is never going to come into play. Think of all of the people that those people would have employed in New York that are just never going to be employed. Think of the tax base that is fleeing the city that pays for all the nonsense that the new Communist Party in New York City wants to put into place. It's a really scary idea. You're going to create a dystopian society from the capital of capitalism. Yeah. And that's a sad thing. I mean, as someone who spent most of my career and watched my father spend his entire career before politics building and changing the skyline of New York, you scare out those guys, what's left?
Yeah. Well, I'll put you down for a definite maybe for Ma'am Danny's victory party. But your dad is going to be patrolling the streets of D.C. I mean, first off, your dad's almost 80 years old. I have never seen anybody at this pace, even my age, Don.
Yeah. Now, listen, what a baller move, right? I mean, it's just such a flex. He's going to go out there and do it himself. But that's why the people elected him, Carl. They elected him because they understand that he's not a bureaucrat. He's not a politician. He's actually a doer. So he's going to get out there with the men and women who do these things, who keep our city safe. And despite all the uproar you saw from the Democrats in the media, it's interesting. When you do all the candid interviews of people on the streets of D.C., 93% of whom are, hardened leftists. They're like, no, this is great. I feel safe. This is a wonderful thing. Let's do this. Maybe we should roll out the tour to Portland, Seattle, the other, what we'd call, crap hole cities of the country, not because they're crap holes, but because Democrats made them so. Yeah. Maybe we're going to expand this, because it's sort of interesting when a very left-leaning base is actually encouraging these kind of policies, because they know the truth. They know they're getting carjacked. They know the murder rate was going through the roof. Yeah. Just because they changed the way they measure statistics doesn't mean the crime didn't actually take place, but that's what they've done. You've seen that with the Democrats all along. They changed the statistics. They changed the way they measure things, and they look, it's a huge win. Meanwhile, everyone's getting carjacked and murdered. That doesn't work anymore. The people on the streets aren't buying it. I think this is great policy, and I love that he's getting out there with the people to actually take part in this.
Well, Don, if you could put in a good word for me, I'd love to be the turret gunner on that security detail. Just saying, when he goes to Portland.
Just saying. Just saying. Listen, hey, no one would do it better than you, Carl.
All right, Don Jr., we appreciate it.
Thanks a lot, guys.
All right, coming up, Gavin Newsom's latest antics against the GOP are actually just so stupid, I can't even go there. But first, an Ukrainian man has been arrested in Italy in connection to the 2022 Nord Stream pipeline blast. I thought Ukraine denied any involvement in this. Hey, you remember the Nord Stream gas pipelines that were blown up in 2022? The ones that Ukraine denied any sort of involvement with? Well, it actually turns out a 49-year-old Ukrainian man was just arrested in Italy on suspected charges of coordinating those attacks. Nord Stream gas pipelines deliver natural gas to Europe to keep them from freezing, okay? It comes from Russia, but Nord Stream 1, operational since 2011, runs under the Baltic Sea from Russia to Germany. Nord Stream 2, which was completed in 2021 but never operational due to the war, was designed to hold double the capacity of Nord Stream 1. Now, in 2022, a series of underwater explosions, as we reported, damaged and actually blew up most of those pipelines, causing gas leaks, hurting both Russia and Europe, who relied on those pipelines. Russia pointed the finger at Ukraine, and the West claimed it was in retaliation to the war, but Ukraine denied ever causing such harm to those people. But they did harm the allies of NATO in Europe. I'd point to Article 5 of NATO. An attack on one is an attack on all. Did Ukraine essentially attack a NATO ally? If Ukraine is proven responsible for this damage, I mean, let's just say they're going to have to do better than what they're currently doing, which is no comment. Retired Air Force Brigadier General Blaine Holton, retired Lieutenant Colonel of the U.S. Army, Tony Shaffer. I mean, General, you said this from day one. Be skeptical of this.
So Sergei did it with the pipe wrench in the conservatory is what I guess we're all assessing has happened. But I'm going to just say what I've been saying the whole time. That's garbage. This is a great indicator that I know this war is going to end soon, because what are we doing? We're tying off loose ends. We've got this Nord Stream 2 thing. So who did it? Sergei did it. And maybe a few of his buddies who rented a pleasure yacht to go do a very highly technical dive, which you know fully well about, Carl, to get this thing detonated. This is crap. But okay. You know, all we care about at this point is, will President Trump be successful, and will the Europeans stop being an impediment and get Zelensky on sides to get this war ended? That's where we're at right now.
Yeah, and before I go to you, Tony, we're watching on the bottom right-hand corner of your screen. Donald Trump is about to patrol some stuff in D.C. This is going to be great. What do you think about this Nord Stream thing?
So I agree with Blaine. Look, I don't think the Professor, Marianne, and Thurston Howell went out on a boat and proceeded to attack a target that took some level of both targeting, intelligence targeting, and some level of sophistication. You don't put a wetsuit on and just kind of go diving around and hoping you get the right spot.
300 feet down. That's like mixed gas.
Color me skeptical.
Yeah.
But with that said, if the Ukrainians now kind of want to take credit for it, okay, you've already got the Hungary upset with you because you did blow up a pipe that they were using for gas from Russia. So I guess it all kind of fits, right, Carl?
Literally, if you write a book, people wouldn't believe it. It'd be in the fiction section. All right, so the framework of the trade deal with the EU has actually been revealed in a joint statement. And through this deal, General, The EU will eliminate tariffs on all U.S. industrial goods. U.S. tariffs are capped at 15%, with auto remaining at 27.5% until the EU cuts levies. Now the EU intends to procure $750 billion in U.S. LNG, mostly because they're such greenie beanies and they just put up a bunch of wind farms and stop drilling for oil themselves, so they need it. But the EU is also going to purchase $40 billion in AI chips. They're going to do steel and aluminum face 50% tariffs. All in, man, this is a pretty good deal for us, not so great for them.
Yeah, so Ursula's either the worst negotiator on planet Earth, or what she did was exactly what the bidding of the Europeans was. The number one goal is do not let the United States leave Europe at all costs. Do not let America pull out of NATO, leave us high and dry, leave us to the Russians, and our World Economic Forum cool kids. And that's what that deal was really all about. And it may not be enough. So here's the bottom line: is if they don't get Ukraine resolved the way that President Trump wants, America's probably walking.
Yeah, well, exactly. And Tony, also real quick, Canada Prime Minister Mark Carney, this new guy, over the phone discussed current trade challenges with Trump, opportunities shared and like priorities. This is the first time that they've, they failed to reach a number of agreements, but like Trump's kind of like, all right, I got the EU, dude, you got to play our ball now.
That's it. I mean, the Canadian markets can't live without us. I mean, let's face it, Carl, right now, they're crashing, and they were depending, and if Trump knew this, we always have what they need. We literally don't need them. We can find everything we need from other sources or right here at home. So I think Canadians are waking up to a very new reality they don't like. And oh, by the way, they aren't our friends politically either. They have gone way left wing. So I think President Trump has the right to say, yeah, we're not digging this whole, you're our attic, and we don't go up to our attic very often anyway. So, we'll live without having to go to the attic.
Yeah.
That's right.
But exactly. Maybe what do we need from you? A couple trees? We're good. All right. General Hope, Tony Schaefer. Appreciate it. All right. Coming up, the beloved good old American Cracker Barrel getting a sad, modernized rebrand with a bunch of LGBTQ stuff. You're not going to like this. And our Culture Clash next. You would think after Bud Light they would have learned, but nope, these companies keep diving into the shallow end of stupid. The latest company to hop on this trend, Cracker Barrel. Not only is the restaurant remodeling the inside, getting rid of the old country things, putting in these stupid McDonald's style, booths, like they're taking the old guy in his barrel, Cracker Barrel, off the logo. Cracker Barrel released a statement saying, our story hasn't changed, our values haven't changed. With all the more, we're honoring our legacy while bringing fresh energy, thoughtful craftsmanship, and heartfelt hospitality to guests. The guests are not happy with this. But of course, the CEO had to go into damage control on Good Morning America earlier this week.
What if all the customers are coming at you hard enough about the look of the restaurant and they want to go back to the old way? Would you do it?
Honestly, the feedback's been overwhelmingly positive that people like what we're doing. The number one question that I got asked, Michael, was how can I get a remodel? When can I get a remodel? How do I get on the list?
Oh, really?
So because the feedback and the buzz is so good, not only from our customers, but from our team members.
But that's not all. There's another one of her missions that I'm sure the customers just aren't fond about. The LGBTQ Alliance of Cracker Barrel. It's like these companies want to lose money. Look, Serve Pancakes. Their stock is tanking right now, and they just don't understand why. They keep doing this stuff. Kay Smythe, writer for KSmytheHill.com, and Sean Frosh, comedian and host of Ungoverned on LFA TV. Sean, it seems like they just haven't been punished enough yet.
I just can't believe I'm a Jets fan, right? Football. Remember
Me too.
He's with the Giants, and talk about self-inflicted errors, right? New York Jets football. It's like their brand, right? But remember when Plaxico Burress of the New York Giants shot himself in the leg because he put a gun in sweatpants and went to a nightclub? This is what Cracker Barrel is. You didn't have to do anything. Yeah. You could have left everything alone. You could have served the best damn chicken fried steak in the world. You could have left the peg game on the table that insulted you if you left 3 or more pegs. Yeah. You could leave the rocking chair. You could leave the old guy with the barrel. You could leave the logo alone. You could leave the insert alone.
Do nothing.
And
spend no money.
Be fine.
Yeah.
If it ain't broke, don't fix it. What did she do? She took Cracker Barrel and she just blew it up. I'm looking at it going, why would you do that? Look at this logo. This is soulless. There is no joy. I guarantee you, even if they don't change the recipe, the chicken fried steak tastes bad now because of this logo. I cannot believe what they have done. You know what? The stock is down. How long until Joy Reid blames this on white supremacy? I'm sure this is going to be a race thing soon. I am so upset about it. I love that place. Or at least I used to.
Yeah, I'm not. This is like the scene out of Ricky Bobby when he's like, "Don't stick that knife in your leg, Ricky Bobby," and he's like, "I'm gonna do it." So okay. Speaking of woke, this is Trump's been going after the Smithsonian, but look at the White House actually shared this out. This is a Smithsonian tutorial, and I printed it out. It says white culture. And one of the things is rugged individualism and self-reliance. Those are bad things, by the way. They also state that objective, rational, linear thinking. That's also a bad thing, apparently. And under the competition thing, it's white culture is be number one, win at all cost, winner-loser dichotomy. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm sick of this kind of constant new form of racism that's being, it's not just, let's be honest, it's not just ignorant for the Smithsonian to come out and say something like this when you have to consider the actual origins of the institution. We're also looking at an institution that has basically hemorrhaged all trust in the general or from the general public anyway, because they've basically hidden mass swaths of our history to the point where they refuse. Look, I could go off on a whole tangent about big archaeology and the fact that human civilization goes back hundreds of thousands of years further than any of these institutions will allow us. I don't think that there is a single person even studying archaeology these days who trusts their professors, because the evidence keeps building up that the Smithsonian has hidden our history from us. I am so excited to see what Trump pulls out of this place. Honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if next week we're sitting here talking about the legitimacy of giants. We could go on.
This is like the same thing as like when they said like being on time is white supremacy. It's like, no, that's called being successful in a modern workplace. Yesterday we told you about this too, Sean, the Department of Transportation's project to get rid of, gay stuff on roads. So the Florida DOT covered up one of these gay pride flags, and listen to this.
Rainbow crosswalk that FDOT thought was appropriate to sneak into our community in the middle of the night and to totally erase. They're the ones who made it political today. And they're the ones who decided it was appropriate to erase an entire community here in Orlando. We're not gonna let it stand. We're gonna do everything we can to restore this crosswalk, but to also fight back against the extremism coming out of both the state of Florida and the White House.
No, you people painted a stroke sign on the ground where a crosswalk once was. They put it back.
How about this, right? Just cross the street. Why must it be gay to cross the street? Right? Why do we have to have gay crosswalks? Like, I don't understand. And by the way, the community is not being erased. You're still here, and I'm happy about it, right? Like the crosswalk is black and white again, and you're yelling about it on TikTok. Just cross the road. Yeah. That's all I'm asking you to do. Do it. Don't jaywalk, right? Because nobody's above the law. Just cross the street and let bygones be bygones. And I promise everything's going to be okay.
I'm not sure Kay's going to pull it together, so we're going to leave it there. Sean and Kay, I appreciate it as always. All right. Oh, man. Coming up, Newsom tries to troll Trump over eliminating vote by mail. This is going to be a good one. Next.
So I just wanted to thank you all. You're doing incredible. You're incredible people. You make the country run, frankly. You make the whole place run. We're going to have the best Capitol ever. We're going to have it's going to look better than it ever did. Even at the White House, I'm building a ballroom. They've been after a ballroom for 150 years, but they never had a real estate guy as a president. I've done a lot of ballrooms, and we're going to make this one the best of them all. But we're doing a real job. As far as the country's concerned, we're respected again. We had a country that was laughed at a year ago. They thought they couldn't understand what was happening, and it's about leadership. But we had a country that was a dead country in many ways. Went to Saudi Arabia, I went to Qatar, I went to UAE. We came back with $5.1 trillion of investment in this country. And we're over 17 trillion. Now, a lot of you don't know what that means. And nobody knows what it means because it's never happened before. In 5 months, because really it's a 5-month, even though we're here 7, but we started 5 months ago in terms of investment. And we have, because they see what's happened to our country, we're going to be over 17 trillion with a T, dollars of investment. There's never been anything close. If we did 1 trillion in a year, and we're talking about over a 5-month period, maybe 6 months if you look at it, but over $17 trillion. We're building plants, auto plants, AI plants, all sorts of plants all over the country. I'm giving them the right. Lee Zeldin's done a fantastic job. We're giving them the right to build electric plants. They become almost like a public utility because we have old grids. We have a lot of stuff that's old. We wouldn't be able to compete with China AI. And now we're totally leading the AI race and the artificial intelligence. It's a big deal. And it's the hottest thing there is for probably in 35, 40 years. It's a lot of people don't know what it is. Just trust me, it's very hot. It's big. But they need massive amounts of electricity. They need more electricity than we have right now in the whole country servicing everything. In other words, we have to at least double it up to be competitive and to be leading. And we're more than doubling it up. And what I'm doing is I'm letting all of these very rich companies, and they've got nothing but they got a lot of money, and they want to invest it in the United States, and they're building big plants, but they're building electric plants with it. I said, you build your building, and these are buildings that cost 30, 40, 50 billion dollars when you include everything that's inside, all the technology. I said, I'm going to let you build electric plants to fire your own electricity, and anything that you have left over, you sell it back into the grid. So all of these big factories that are being built are building their own electric plants fired by oil and gas. They're not fired by wind, by the way, because wind doesn't work, but we won't say that. It destroys everything. It looks terrible. It's a very expensive form of energy. And we're not doing wind. We're going back to fossil fuel. I hope not too many of you people are going to be upset, but we have to go back to what works. We can't be foolish. But we're building massive electric plants all over the country. The companies are building, and then they sell it back into the grid. But we're building numbers that nobody's ever seen. We're auto plants. We have many auto plants going up, whereas during the last 4 years, as you know, we had like none. People weren't investing here. So where they weren't investing and they were leaving. But I just finished by saying this. So I was with the King of Saudi Arabia. I was with all of the NATO leaders a couple of weeks ago, and they are putting up not 2%, but 5%. They said 5% of GDP, that's a lot of money. They'll have trillions of dollars put up. They were putting up 2, but they weren't paying it. Now they're putting up 5, and they're all paying it. And they all said the same thing. They said, 1 year ago, your country was dead. We never thought it was coming back. And now you have the hottest country anywhere in the world. These are the leaders of other countries, the prime ministers and the presidents, every one of them said essentially the same thing, said we had a dead country, and we were. We felt that way. And we were. And this place was emblematic of it with the crime, the horrible crime. And, you know, I watch these phony reports. Oh, we were on the way back. They weren't on the way back. It was worse than ever just a short while ago. But now it's going to be, I think now, right now, it's better than it has been in years. And in a couple of weeks, it's going to be even far better than that. And everybody's safe now. Everybody feels safe. And they're all coming in. And people are now coming in. They're making reservations to come in. And they want to be in Washington, D.C. One of the things we're going to be redoing is your parks. I'm very good at grass because I have a lot of golf courses all over the place. I know more about grass than any human being, I think, anywhere in the world. And we're going to be regrassing all of your parks, all brand new sprinkler systems, the best that you can buy, just like Augusta. No, it'll look like Augusta. It'll look like, more importantly, Trump National Golf Club. That's even better. But we're going to have all brand new, beautiful grass. You know, like everything else, grass has a life. Do you know that? Grass has a life. You know, we have a life and grass has a life. And the grass here died about 40 years ago. So we're going to be rebuilding all of your parks, and it's going to happen fast. It's going to go up like a miracle. So you do the job on safety, and I'll get this place fixed up physically, and we're going to be so proud of it at the end of 6 months. But let's say at the end of a year, this place will be maxed out in terms of beauty. You'll have all new surfaces. You'll have all new medians. Everything's going to look beautiful. A lot of your signs are going to be taken down. They've been up for 40 years. They look like hell. They're barely standing up. They're falling off off their holders. And we're going to have all new everything. And I want to just thank Doug for doing such an incredible job. You've been unbelievable. You're a popular guy. No, he's an amazing guy. He's an amazing guy. Everybody love him. We love you. And his wife is so incredible. But thank you very much. I appreciate it. And then Pam, thank you very much. What a job. People don't realize, they're going to see. She'll go down as the greatest attorney general we've had. I really mean it, too. And where's my Christy? You dear. Thank you very much. She's been incredible. And she can ride a horse like nobody. Horses, she rips those horses around. But I want to thank you very much. And Steve Miller, so fantastic. And Todd Blanchard's been with me so long, and he's one of the best lawyers you'll ever find. And we're having a lot of victories. I had a victory today. You know, they stole $550 million from me with a fake case, and it was overturned. They said this was a fake case. It's a terrible thing, but that's a nice victory, you know. I mean, it's not bad. You know, we all have our limits, but this was a terrible thing that done. It was a witch hunt, and I've had more witch hunts than any human being, I think, in history. And here we are, we're the president of the United States. So it didn't work out too well for them, but. Maybe now it's turned a little bit. These are very dishonest people. We have to fight. We have to win because we have to win. And you people are winners. And I just think it's such an honor to be with you. And we're going to make Washington, D.C. great again. We're making our country great again. The country is very close to being great. When they say it's the hottest country in the world, they mean it. And this Capitol is right now, after 4 days, 5 days, it's at a level that you haven't seen in a long time, and it's all because of you. So I want to thank you all very much. It's an honor to be with you, and we'll always be with you. We're going to be with you for as long as I'm around. You're going to be treated as nobody more important, and thank you all very much for being here. Thank you. Thank you very much. Doug, would you like to say something? Thank you, everybody.
President Trump, on behalf of everybody that's here in law enforcement.
All right. Look, I absolutely love that guy. How did we go from national security, securing D.C. crime to grass? The greatest guy on grass ever. Look, I don't ever get enough of covering this guy. But look, something else, somebody who, is going to be running against maybe his predecessor, J.D. Vance, Gavin Newsom. I don't know what he's thinking. His followers insist that he's like owning MAGA or something weird like that. But he's actually gone so far to the left that he's joking about things that like are actually real, like tweeting out Trump wants to eliminate vote by mail. Gee, I wonder why. Then tweeted out this map. And I'm like, yeah, that's where most of the fraud is. I mean, you can see it right here. Let's just start with the states that were the most blue with the most mail-in ballots. It's weird that they also have some of the most fraud. I mean, here's 3 cases from Colorado, Oregon, and Washington where what they say isn't happening happened a lot. You know why they're panicking? Trump is deporting all of their precious illegals that boost their census data. But 2, the Democrat Party is bleeding registered voters, down 2.1 million since the last cycle. And simultaneously, Republicans were up over 2 million. Look at this. I mean, like, Republicans are up in registrations in almost every single state, even Democrat strongholds. And then Democrats, you go over to them, they're the complete opposite. People are leaving that party. Democrats are just, I mean, they're losing it. And who here would like to know why? You doubled down on 80-20 issues, libs. You put men in girls' bathrooms, more government, more taxes, more regulation. You hired a fat woman to try to attract young male voters to your base while simultaneously eliminating the amount of testosterone, any testosterone in your party, by appointing Tim Walz as the VP candidate. You told white people they're bad. You destroyed the nuclear family by telling women they don't need men. You let criminals out of jail, illegals across the border, and porn books in elementary school. No wonder you're bleeding voters.
If we are not successful with this, there'll be no independent redistricting in this country. It's all over. It's gone. He's trying to rig the election. Period, full stop, in plain sight.
He's actually not trying to rig the election. See, Texas Republicans just undid your Democrat gerrymandering. In fact, overall, people don't agree with gerrymandering. They want relatively square districts. Republicans, about 46%. You know, they're pretty ardently opposed to that. Democrats, 71%. See, now that Republicans are undoing their gerrymandering, they want to support more gerrymandering to overdo this. Overall, America is not about this. There's also a new poll out today. This is like crazy that these things are coming out the way they are. Let's bring in Joe Pags, host of the Joe Pags Show. Sir, it turns out that Republicans are just undoing the Democrat stuff, and they're freaking out about it.
You know, it's funny, all the Republicans from my state of Texas, Carl, and thanks for having me on, ran to gerrymandered states. There's a district in Illinois that looks like an anaconda. It goes around like the entirety of the state just to grab every Democrat they possibly can and disenfranchise all the Republicans. And by the way, we're adding 5 new districts here in Texas, and we're eliminating black and brown people, according to Jasmine Crockett. Guess what? 4 of the 5 are going to be Hispanic districts. They just happen to vote Republican, so they're not the right kind of Hispanic. The chickens have come home to roost, Carl. These people have been gerrymandering for so long. They thought that they were set and nothing would change. Everything's changing, and it's going to become fair. And when fair is happening, you and I both know that this country leans more center-right than anything else. People like Gavin Newsom, who should clear his throat. I don't know what that's. I don't know what that is with him. People like Gavin Newsom should realize that people are now going to push as hard as they can to get representation out of that state. 17%. In the House of Representatives from California, that's a 60-40 state now. 0% out of Massachusetts, that's a 60-40 state. Representative government should represent everybody.
Yeah, no, exactly. But already the Dems, they're fighting over which. And Gavin Newsom just did come out today and said he wants to punch Republicans in the mouth, which I welcome the challenge. I'm here in New York. Come talk to me about it. All right. Dems are trying to fight over which state. Now, they tried to put it in South Carolina because they thought they were going to get the black vote, but now they got Pete Buttigieg in the race, and he got, he's polling at 0% of the black vote. Right. So they can't put South Carolina in the first. I mean, they don't know what to do.
They're very, very confused about what to do, and I love it. I am here for it, as you would say. And at the end of the day, they are a lost party. I don't know who the leader is. Is it Gavin Newsom? Is it Whitmer? Is it Jasmine Crockett? Is it somebody? Is it Bernie Sanders, for God's sakes? Is it Keith Ellison, who in Minnesota just said we're suing Trump to allow men and girls sports? I don't know who it is, but I am totally here for it. They are in disarray, and I love it.
Yeah, and that's the other thing too with this. Every single thing they do, it's like they're trying to fight everything. It's like at no point can they be like, oh yeah, you know what? Donald Trump and RFK are taking poisonous chemicals out of food. No, we can't have that. It's like, guys, can you just just pick one fight that's legit and maybe win? I don't want to offer them campaign advice.
Well, Carl, it used to be the Democrats and Republicans would say, the Democrat did something good. I'm for that. The Republican did something good. I'm for that. Politically speaking, it makes sense to say, I think Barack Obama did 3 good things in 8 years. I hated everything else he did.
Well,
but
one
when
of
he
them
got
was
it
leave.
right. Right. Well, that was a really good one. But when he got it right, you've got to admit that he got it right. The people of D.C., the black-on-black crime is down 83% because of what Trump did. And every interview I've seen happens to be a D.C. resident that happens to be black, and they're very, very happy with what the president did, and I'll bet they didn't vote for him. At some point, you've got to say rationality, reason, legitimacy, and what's right versus wrong really makes sense. The Democrats are lost, and again, I'm here for it.
Yeah, well, according to the Smithsonian, you can't have objective, rational, linear thinking. That's white culture and assumptions
Way
of
too
whiteness.
white.
We got to leave it right there. Joe Pags, my man.
You're the best,
Pleasure.
Carl.
All right.
All right, good to
Keep
see
it here,
you.
folks. Back. 1 sec. All right, folks, it's Thursday. Let's get some comments to Carl here. All right, so regular troll Jose, love this guy, gives us absolutely tons of content. He said, instead of whining about Democrats, why not acknowledge that the only way Republicans can win, even in Texas, is to rig the game? Bro, we just covered this. We're playing the game that you guys rigged, and we still have the House, we have the Senate, and we have the White House. Whatevs. Anyway, I did a monologue on Monday about Trump and Zelensky and Putin and the actual historic fact of why Russia's doing the things they're doing, with receipts, by the way, going back to 1970. This guy, Jeff Ward from West Virginia, said, this host is an absolute moron. Great argument, bro. You can't refute any of the facts. You just insult people. But hey, thanks for watching. You count in the ratings too. I want to get to one last one. And we always like to end on a new. Look, this moron's got time for one last tweet, I guess. That's me. All right. This Peter, okay? Peter said, absolute best newscaster in the business, very best. Thank you, Carl. Well, Peter, hey, you know what? I appreciate that, man. Appreciate you watching. All right, so I also wanted to get to this other thing that I bet you didn't think you had to worry about, okay? California, a resident there, hippie, has tested positive for the plague after camping near South Lake Tahoe on the California side, not the Nevada side. Officials are saying that they believe the resident was infected after being bitten by an infected flea. Now, thankfully, the person is recovering and getting treated with antibiotics, but the plague, as annotated in this case specifically, is actually a bacterial infection typically carried by rodents. It causes fever and nausea and swollen lymph nodes and can become deadly if not treated. So basically, it's just the flu. People died of it because during the 17th century in Europe, this killed millions of people. And they had these guys right here in this weird outfit running around trying to treat people because they hadn't invented like Advil yet. So, I mean, that's it. But like, is anybody really shocked by this is happening in California? And also, this is the poop map from California. This plague comes from poop that flies land on and then go bite you. That's San Francisco. I mean, what a place to live, you know? It's funny that all these people have told us follow the science and they're out there and they got the plague. No one's had that in like 100 years? Something like that? Yeah, 300, I think it was when the Birdman was out there. Anyway, that's going to do it for Comments for Carl, guys. We really appreciate it. Same time, same place tomorrow. Stick around. Greta's next.